Hey everyone. All right, so it's time for another Q&A. As usual, I took a bunch of your questions. I'm going to go ahead and read them right now. Let's dig right in. All right, so the first question comes from Mr. Jack Edwards. And he is asking, congratulations on 1,000 subs. Keep it up. Well, thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. Question for your next QA. Out of all the parks from Magic Kingdom in 1971 to Shanghai in 2016, which park or resort do you think Walt would have disliked the most and why? Out of the 12 Disney parks, Walt only had impact on Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, but Walt never even saw the final product of the Florida project. I'm interested to see your thoughts on this. Have a great day. Well, thank you, Jack. I do appreciate the question. So what park do I think Walt would dislike the most? To be honest with you, I think Epcot. And this isn't a diss on Epcot. I think Epcot is a fantastic park. It's one of the best parks Disney has ever built. But the reason why I think that Walt would be, disappointed in Epcot, because it really strayed from his original vision. Okay, Epcot, as all you know, is experimental prototype city of tomorrow. Okay, Walt had a passion for this project and he wanted it to come to fruition. And I think he would have been very disappointed that it sort of took a different route and kind of went the more traditional theme park route instead of the prototype city that he envisioned. So Epcot, like I said, it bears repeating, is a great park, and that's not the issue. The reason why I think that Walt would be disappointed in it is because it's very, different than his original vision. So I think he would have been disappointed in it. So that's the one park I think really would have upset Walt Disney. Does that mean, Epcot's a bad park? No, that's not what I'm saying. I just think that Walt had a very specific idea as to what Epcot would be, and it didn't turn out that way. So I think that's why he would be disappointed. So thank you so much for your question, Jack. I do appreciate it. Let's move on to the next one, which is from Madol Ghosts. And they're asking, what are your thoughts on what Disney plans to do with Epcot? Do you agree, disagree, are you in the middle? Okay, so Epcot, the plans for Epcot, what do I think about them? Well, as a Disney fan, I would like to see Epcot stay true to its original vision when it opened, which is, Future World is very science-based, and World Showcase is a more realistic portrayal of each country. But unfortunately, we live in a society where that doesn't sell. What sells is Frozen and Guardians of the Galaxy and Pixar and things like that. So I understand, even though I'm against it, I understand why Disney wants to go the franchise route. Okay? Personally, would I go that route? No, I wouldn't. I don't like that direction for Epcot. I really don't. But I understand why Disney is doing it. Now, if Disney is going to go the franchise route, fine. But this is the big caveat here. If they're going to go the franchise route, at least have the franchises or the backstories to these attractions tie into the park. Okay, don't shoehorn an attraction in there for no good reason just because it's a popular franchise. If you're going to add Guardians of the Galaxy or you're going to add, whatever it is, make sure that the backstory of that attraction fits in with the energy and the vision for Epcot. That's all I ask. Is that it fits with that park. A good example of this would actually be, I think, Inside Out would be a perfect attraction for Epcot. Okay, it would be very sciencey, very science-based, educational, yet it's a franchise that would be easily marketable to the general public. So I think that's a great franchise for Epcot. It stays true to Epcot, yet you're still making that, you're still making that money because it appeals to the general masses. So that would be a good example of what I think they should do with Epcot. If they insist on the franchises, go that route. Now with Guardians, we don't really know the backstory yet for that attraction. I just hope that they come up with something really creative and do a really good job at tying it in with that park. It would be really a shame to just have that shoehorned in like that. Epcot is an amazing place, and it would be really sad if they just basically turned it into like another Hollywood Studios or another Magic Kingdom park. So those are my thoughts on that. So as a fan, just to kind of recap, as a Disney super fan, no, I don't like the franchise route that they're going in, but if they're going to go in that direction, at least make it work for Epcot. At least tie it in a way that fits that park. Don't shoehorn things in. Thank you so much for your question. Let's move on to the next one, which is from Absinthe and Tears, and they're asking, thank you for answering one of my previous Q&A questions. It's been a few episodes back, but very much appreciated. Well, you're welcome. No problem. One more for you. Do you think they will also eventually bring the focus of Christmas to DCA rather than Disneyland? Thanks again for doing such an amazing job with this channel. I always look forward to your video. Well, thank you so much for your kind words. I do appreciate it, and thank you for your question. Do I think they're going to shift the focus of Christmas from Disneyland to DCA? No. I don't think that will ever happen. Here's the thing. Holidays kind of have a certain like personality, so to speak, okay? So things like Halloween and New Year's Eve, they have a little bit more of an edgier vibe, and it fits more with California Adventure. Things like Christmas, though, it's more whimsical. It's more romanticized, which obviously fits more with Disneyland. So the focus, I don't think, will ever go from Disneyland to DCA. Okay, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think Disneyland will always be the central focus of Christmas. Now, with that said, with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge coming up in just a couple of years, we do know that Disney wants to really make California Adventure more attractive, so it releases some of the pressure from Disneyland having a bajillion people there for Star Wars. So I do think it's a possibility. Now, while I don't think the focus will ever change, I think it will always be on Disneyland, I do think it's a good possibility that the Christmas offerings at California Adventure get plussed dramatically. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised in the next year or two that we see more and more Christmas stuff popping up at California Adventure. But at the end of the day, I think Christmas, the focus, will always be at Disneyland. It's a perfect park for that holiday, and I don't think that's ever going to change. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. I think more will come to California Adventure, but the focus will still be at Disneyland. So thank you so much for the question. I do appreciate it. And we're going to go on to the last question from Mr. Andre Wallace. And he's asking, if Walt were still alive, would he approve of the current direction of the company that he created? Andre, this is a fantastic question and a loaded question. But in short, do I think Walt would be happy with the direction of the Walt Disney Company? Yes, I do. I think overall, the Walt Disney Company, again, there's always exceptions, okay? But overall, I think that they've done a good job, especially under Bob Iger's leadership, of continuing his vision and his legacy for what he wanted to do. He wanted to create top-notch theme parks, push, technology boundaries, make great animated films. And I think they're doing all those things right now. Okay, I do. I mean, I don't think there's anything that they're doing that's really detrimental, to the company overall. Are there things that Walt wouldn't approve of? Yeah. I mean, I don't think Walt would really love the idea of Walt Disney Animation Studios churning out sequels, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Frozen 2. They're probably going to have Frozen 3 and 4 and Moana 2. I don't think Walt would really like that. He's actually said, it's on record that he doesn't like doing sequels. And I also don't think he would love all these live action remakes of animated classics. I think he would see that as, sort of retreading, the same old stuff, And Walt was a bigger dreamer than that. He wouldn't like kind of retelling the same story over and over again. I think he always wanted to, move forward. So yeah, there's things that I think that he would be disappointed in, of course. Look, anytime you have a company the size of Disney, there's going to be aspects and elements of that company that are not going to be perfect. Disney as a corporation will never be perfect. It's way too big. So there's elements of that company that, of course, are going to be lackluster. It's always going to be that way. But overall, if you're looking at the overall big picture, they're doing great things. Look at the theme parks, for example. Pandora. I mean, gosh, look how incredible that place is. Walt would be enamored with that place. Look at Cars Land. Look at Buena Vista Street. Look what the plans are for Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge. Tell me Walt wouldn't fall in love with that stuff. He would love that. Now look at the movies that came out recently. Look at Tangled. That's classic Disney right there. Even Frozen. I know a lot of people hate Frozen. I'm not a Frozen hater. I actually think it's a really good movie. I do. I don't always agree with Disney's marketing direction for the film. I think they did overhype it quite a bit. But I think in terms of if you're just going to judge the movie itself, I think Frozen's a really good movie. Wreck-It Ralph is a good movie. There's a lot of good animated films right now. The theme parks are making good quality, immersive environments. Yeah, I don't think he would be disappointed at all. In fact, I think he would be extremely shocked. Even Walt Disney, with all his ambition, I think he would be extremely shocked at just how massive and how big his company, how big it got. I think he would be really, really surprised. But no, I think he would be very happy with the direction of the company. Bob Iger, again, is not perfect. Michael Eisner was not perfect. But for the most part, they're continuing, his legacy. They're respecting his legacy. No, not perfect, but it never will be. So we can't really hold it to that standard. Thank you so much, Andre, for the question. I do appreciate it. So if you guys want me to answer one of your questions, please comment below. Any question you have, I'm going to go ahead and pick a bunch of them for the next Q&A. Sometimes if the question has enough meat to it, I kind of dedicate it to its own video. So your question might even become its own video segment. So you never know. So comment below with any questions you might have for me. Guys, thank you so much for your support. It's really been overwhelming. I appreciate each and every one of you that watches my videos, that retweets or shares my stuff. I really do appreciate it. For those of you new to the channel, I do content on Disney all the time. Like, subscribe, and as always, have a magical day. Bye-bye.